Hi, everybody, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of Power Networking Media's weekly feature program, Spotlight on Small Business. I'm your host, Moshe Klein. Spotlight on Small Business introduces you to successful small business owners who share content and information that you don't want to miss. Today, I'm overjoyed to welcome my friend and networking partner, attorney Donna Hartl, to the program. Donna is with the full-service law firm of Roetzel and Andress. Donna, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Moshe. Glad to be here.
Donna, you're a tax attorney, actually, handling a variety of different responsibilities at the law firm. So there's really no shortage of things we could talk about today. But since we only have 5 or 6 minutes, it's tax season. But I think the most important thing we could delve into is the SBA's new version of the payroll protection program. And I understand you're knowledgeable about this. Tell us a little bit about what you know about the program and what our small business viewers might need to know.
Thank you. Yes, the payroll protection program is an excellent program, especially for small businesses, because it has given so many of them either a net revenue lifeline or at least a cash flow lifeline with respect to these loans. And the way they work was initially the law was signed on March 27th of 2020, and it allowed businesses to go in and ask the SBA for a loan equal to 2.5 months worth of their payroll. And then the money could be used and spent on payroll plus other benefits, plus rent and some side expenses like utilities. If those amounts were spent in a certain period of time on those items, then you could apply and ask the SBA to actually have the loan forgiven. So you would not have to pay back the loan. It was such a success that extensions were given on those loans and applying for the loans. And then they finally stopped taking applications for them in August. What has happened with recent legislation is that they have extended the program because it is so successful and it has helped so many businesses that they have what's called a PPP2 loan, a second draw, it's called. And what it says in it is that you can go in for a second loan, but to qualify for that one, the ceiling is lower. It's for $2 million total or less. And you had to have applied, received, and used the money for a PPP1 loan from what was initially the loan program back in March or through 2020. But what they did, because there were so many people who did not apply and did not receive the first PPP loan, they've also extended being able to go back and try to get your first loan through March 31st of this year. So the advantage is there is one round and potentially a second round of PPP loan monies. And the reason they have been so popular is because many people are spending it on the amounts that it was sent for. And because of that, they're going in for forgiveness. And so they never have to pay it back. The
Donna,
interest rate, if you do have to pay it back, is very small. And also, it's never taxable income to you when the loan is forgiven, unlike other loans.
Donna, I want to interrupt you and pull on a thread specifically regarding something that I'm hearing from my clients and from some of my networking partners, that it is indeed a loan and forgiveness is not automatic. Donna, you and I have been working with the SBA probably directly for decades, and certainly with clients who are working with the SBA. They've never made it easier or simpler to take advantage of the funds that can really make a difference between life and death for a small business. But can you touch briefly, please, on how it is exactly that that loan can be forgiven? What are some of the requirements that you're aware of?
Sure, there's a form. There's a couple of forms that you will fill out when you have spent all your money or when your period of time they allow you is over. And you submit the form that you will get from your bank that shows how you spent the money. It will show what you spent on payroll. It will show what you spent on rent. It will show what you spent on utilities. And then it compares those totals to what your loan amount was. And to the extent you spent the requisite expenses during the qualifying time period, which is 8 or 24 weeks, and most people are picking 24 weeks, if that does not exceed your loan amount, the entire amount is forgiven. Now, it's a process. So you submit the loan forgiveness application to your bank, just like you submitted the application to get it. The bank gives it a once over look, double checks that they think your numbers are right, and then they submit it to the SBA, who then has a certain period of time to either say it's forgiven or to ask you any further questions.
Donna, believe it or not, we are quickly running out of time. I have another important question that comes up all the time in conversations that I have. Now, the PPP program is only one of many SBA programs. Let me ask you specifically, there's another one that I call the EIDL, the EIDL, that they rolled out, the Emergency Disaster Relief Fund. Is that available again this year for a second draw? And how is that connected, if at all, to the PPP program?
Well, it's good, and you should check the requirements to see if you can get that as well. It used to be that the amount of that EIDL would reduce the forgiveness available to you on the PPP. That is no longer the case. So now that in certain circumstances can also be forgiven. So where I suggest that people go is they go to sba.gov. And they look at the SBA website, because there is a special section of all coronavirus related relief, and that will give anybody who looks at it all the available loans and grants that are out there right now.
Well, attorney Donna Hartl from the full service law firm of Roetzel and Andress, we are indeed out of time. Clearly, you are a knowledgeable lady. You're a tax attorney, but your breadth of knowledge extends into a variety of areas that I'm certain our small business viewers will be interested in finding out more. If any of our viewers would like to reach out to you to arrange a confidential consultation, what's the best way to connect with you, Donna?
Either email or phone. My email is dhartl, Hartl, at ralaw.com, or they can call me on my direct dial at 312-580-1250.
And of course, they can always connect with you directly at one of our upcoming Power Networking Team events. You're an active and engaged member of our Power Networking Team group, and somebody that we look to keep us up to date on the things of interest to small business owners. This has been another episode of Power Networking Media's weekly Spotlight on Small Business feature. We look forward to sharing a weekly new feature with content and information that you and your small business don't want to miss. Until next week, good luck and good networking.